Hi, you guys. Well, good evening. I wanted to talk a little bit. People have asked me to talk about the Meghan Markle interview on Oprah, what I thought, or what I thought of the situation in general. And I found this article that talks about Meghan Markle's 2014 blog post seemingly debunks claims she knew nothing of royal life. And, I don't want to attack her because I think the whole thing is a little bit different than what people are suggesting it is. And when I look at her with the Queen, I don't think the Queen is a racist, and she gets along with the Queen famously. I don't think that anything that happened that she discussed has to do with that. But it could have to do with a certain kind of credibility she had with the commoners, as it were, where she, like Diana, Princess Di, would go in front of people and walk down the street, and people loved them. I mean, what's not to like? She's regal, she's beautiful, she's graceful. In the whole interview, and I'm not going to kind of go into this. People are picking it apart, and saying she seemingly said she knew nothing of royal life. Okay, I'm not going to go into that. I'm going to go into the face of the interview and how I think these things are politically motivated. And you guys know I might not have the same stance as other people. I thought she and her husband did a very good job in the interview. Now, there were a couple of things that went out into the Oprah Winfrey interview. And whether you think they're fair or not fair, I just don't definitely or decidedly think it is what they say it is. And this is just my opinion, as you know. My opinion is my own. I am a person able to have an opinion. And I think that this whole thing between them, I want you guys to look at this right here. Look at these. Is that people are chosen for positions, huge positions of power. They're interviewed. How are they going to be in an interview? How can they go through an interview and say nothing bad about the Queen? And I feel like Prince Harry and Meghan Markle both had the Queen's back the entire interview. They did not once falter in the position of respect and adoration for their Queen, the sovereign of the United Kingdom and many of the commonwealths that she has power over, right? But there were a couple of things where they discussed the firm as a separate entity, the firm, the industry that is the the royals, right? And they're talking about delineation between the two. My theory is completely different than any of this. We can go through the interview and pick it apart, but I thought Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, and, you know, whatever you think of Oprah, even Oprah, did a very good job of, well, let me just talk about these two. They did a good job, a respectful job, standing behind the powers of the Queen, who is all powerful. She is the sovereign, right? So my feeling is that there is a bit of something that I find in many media blitzes, which I do believe this is a media push. It is something that they have worked out with press, you know, their press people, and they have worked it out with the royal family before speaking. And that their coming to America is no accident. They set up a foundation the second they got here. And this foundation is no accident. But them being on American soil puts them in a specialized kind of role as agents of the royal family. Now, any divestment of that statement, I just don't think is true. I think they are still agents of the royal family, whether you want to call it the firm or under Queen Elizabeth or not. They're agents of the royal family here on American soil, up in Santa Barbara, where a lot of things are hidden. So I don't necessarily think the things that we're being told are, we're not getting the full story. Let me just put it that way. So you can talk about this part. I went into, you know, a statement. She, along with Harry, claimed that one blue blood relayed concerns to the prince over how dark their son Archie's skin would be. All right. Now, if they're going to make it about race, then the whole world pays attention, because we don't like that. We don't like racism, even though racism exists, right? We don't like it. We don't want somebody saying this, right? So then you go here and it says Meghan Markle was not the first biracial member of the British family. All right. First of all, I think she's adorable. All right. And she wants people of color to look to her in a position of power. And I do understand her wants and her deciding factors for that. I think they were articulated well. She's not the first biracial member of the British royal family, which traces its lineage to at least 2 queens of African origin, according to a royal expert. All of the British royals, have African blood. Now that is very interesting. All of the British royals have African blood, said Lady Colin Campbell, a Jamaican-born socialite who has written numerous books on the Windsors, including People of Color and the Royals. One black royal was Queen Charlotte. I guess this is Golda Rocheville as Queen Charlotte. One black royal was Queen Charlotte, who is the focus of the Netflix series Bridgerton, Campbell told the Post. Born in 1774, Sophia Charlotte of Mecklenburg-Strelitz was a direct descendant of Margarita de Castro Sousa, a Portuguese noblewoman who traced her line. Now, everything I've learned recently has to do with lineage, blood lineage. Who are you descended from? Do you have a bloodline that can be traced? And if it can't be traced, where did you come from? What were your origins? I really recommend you get onto one of these sites, these ancestor trait sites, and trace your lineage and look at the words themselves, the names themselves on these sites, and find out what those names say, what those names mean. I found names like rainbow, actually names like, excuse the expression, cock as a last name, C-O-C-K. I found rainbow. You guys know rainbow, right? Okay. The words themselves, remember, they have a legal meaning, a historical, factual meaning. So you can go down here again. You can look at this. It's saying the royal bloodline has African lineage. Now, when you look at the Douglas Trust and you look at the Love Trust, they both reside outside of the country. One in South Africa, the Love Trust, headed and helmed by Natasha Kinski and managed by Major League, I think it's called Major League Baseball. And then the Douglas Trust held in Australia. And then I started thinking about White Christmas and all of these meanings of these words and the lineage of bloodlines, right? Which is important because you have to preserve your bloodline. I don't think you should preserve it by stealing someone else's right to a bloodline. If you're doing that, it becomes a genocide, right? So I don't think that's correct. But in addition to Charlotte, who was married to King George III, Campbell and other historians point to Philippa of Hainaut. How do you say it? Hainaut? Hainaut, hey girl. The wife and advisor to King Edward. Philippa was North African Moorish ancestry, born in northern France. When you take this history into consideration, accusing the royal family of racism is preposterous. And I am going to agree that it is preposterous. But in the interview, they were careful not to disparage the royal line when speaking. He said one blue blood, whatever that meant, because he would not speak to it. Prince Harry would not say what that meant. All right. So Markle's interview claims she was subjected to poor treatment because of her race and had suicidal thoughts. I disagree. When you look historically, now I'm not saying that Markle is not entitled to her position, but I'm wondering if this position was informed and cultivated and presented to the public rather than it being her real true position. Because she was talking about the Queen and the Queen having her sit down beside her on the, I think it was a subway or a train, and, saying, share my blanket or whatever. Like, it seemed like they were very friendly. So they did express this about the baby's skin color. But I wonder if this is more a political position than an actual thing that happened. Now, that's just my opinion. Don't shoot the messenger. You know that I am going to analyze this the way I feel it when I'm watching it. I absolutely thought Meghan Markle was wonderful in the interview. Hey, you guys. Okay, sorry. I was talking about Meghan Markle. I thought she was wonderful. I thought Prince Harry was wonderful. I think that Oprah Winfrey is even wonderful as an actor. I think she's great. Fantastic, really. According to Campbell, there was constant intermarriage among both British and European royals who have proportionally a large percentage of African blood. There was little in the way of racial prejudice until the latter part of 17th century, when British West Indian colonies increasingly relied on slave labor for the cultivation of sugar cane. When sugar started to become more important than gold to the British community, slaves who worked in the fields were dehumanized. Wow. This talks about John Spencer, Princess Diana's family were among slave-owning gentry. An 18th century portrait. And you guys, I don't want to say something that is wrong about Princess Diana and what happened with her and the paparazzi. But if you start to look into those things, you know, these are well-documented events, and what YouTube has told us is we're not supposed to talk about well-documented events or question them. We just have to take them at face value. Even at face value, Princess Diana was well loved, and so was Meghan Markle. Shah has been described by historians as a slave or a servant. Caesar Shah. Okay, I have a Shah in my background. Many Spencers are listed in a database of historic British slaveholders, though it is unclear how closely related they are to Diana's line. Again, I'm going to say again, with the Meghan Markle Harry interview, I think people, I'm not saying this love story isn't true, but people are chosen for these positions. They need to be interviewed, they need to be trained what you can and can't say about the British line, and looking at the British bloodline, I think, is the best place to start when trying to analyze what's really going on. Also, I think that this young couple, they're good looking and charismatic, and they're here on American soil. I don't think that's a mistake. The way our military has hidden certain projects underneath the Queen, I don't think it's the Queen hiding them. I think it's our military hiding them. And they do it in conjunction so that people don't know, you know, what's actually going on. I think they're in a position to, again, push forth a narrative that has been pushed forth in all of the media. Whereas certain people have no rights to tell their stories and have no rights to have media cover their stories. And even Roosevelt thanked the LA Times for not covering certain stories, because there are crimes against humanity happening and nobody's talking about it. And when you do talk about it, they come for you on social media, they come for you and they try to silence it. Now, some of you have asked me where I am on Rumble. Rumble has a different kind of platform. I do have some things up on Rumble, but I don't even know if they're in the system of where people can view them or not. They're definitely not monetized. But anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit. People have asked me on my other channel, ASMR for Dummies is my backup channel, because this channel gets taken down, as you guys know. They want me to weigh in. Tell me exactly what you want me to say about it, other than what I've already said. I think this is a political, there's a political motive, and I'm not sure we're given the full story, as with everything in the Mockingbird media. So that's my theory. Look into the foundation that was created by Prince Harry and Meghan Markle for your answers. That's it. God bless you guys. Talk to you soon. Let me know if there's anything else you want to talk about, body language or anything. I'm sure there's other people doing that. This is just my theory. Take care.